The sun was a molten coin hammered flat against the sky when the cowboy hit the ground. Not with a heroic thud, the kind you see in the moving pictures, but with the dull, wet slap of a man whose lungs had forgotten how to breathe. Dust plumed around him like smoke from a dying fire. His Stetson rolled 3 full turns before it snagged on a creosote bush, brim bent like a broken wing. His name was Caleb McAllister, 31 years old, 6'2" in boots, and until 30 seconds ago, the fastest bronc rider east of the Pecos. Now he was a heap of denim and bone on the floor of the Sonoran Desert, one leg folded beneath him at an angle no leg should ever know. The horse, Devil's Gambit, a black-hearted Mustang with a white blaze like a scar, stood 50 yards off, ears pinned, nostrils flaring, already tasting freedom. Caleb tried to push up on his elbows. The world tilted. Pain detonated behind his eyes, white-hot and merciless. He tasted iron. Somewhere in the haze he heard his father's voice, the old man long dead but still riding shotgun in his skull. "You ride like you got nothing to lose, boy, one day you'll find out what that costs." He laughed, wet, ragged, and the laugh turned into a cough that brought blood to his lips. The sun pressed down. The desert stretched out in every direction, red rock and saguaro skeletons, a graveyard of forgotten wagons and dreams. No water. No shade. No witness. He was going to die here. That was the thought that finally settled in, heavier than the heat. Not panic. Just fact. Like knowing the sky is blue or a rope burns your palms. He'd broken his neck once, his collarbone twice, had a bull hook rip his ear half off in Cheyenne. But this was different. This was the end of the story. He closed his eyes. And that was when he heard the hoofbeats. Not the frantic gallop of a spooked horse, but a slow, deliberate rhythm. One animal. One rider. Coming from the north, where the land folded into crimson mesas and the Apache called home. Caleb forced his eyes open. The rider was a silhouette at first, backlit by the sun, horse and human fused into a single dark shape against the glare. Then the details sharpened, a woman, maybe mid-20s, black hair braided tight, wearing a faded denim shirt and a bandolier of bullets that glinted like fish scales. Her horse was a paint, buckskin and white, moving with the easy confidence of something born to this country. She reined in 10 feet away. Didn't dismount. Just sat there, one hand on the reins, the other resting on her thigh near a knife sheath. Her eyes, dark, unreadable, took him in, the blood, the leg, the horse long gone. Caleb tried to speak. His voice came out a croak. "Help." The woman tilted her head. She said something in a language he didn't know, guttural, musical, old as the rocks. Then, in English flat as a board, "You're a long way from the rodeo, cowboy." He laughed again, weaker this time. "Tell me about it." She swung down from the saddle with the fluid grace of someone who'd been riding before she could walk. Her boots, worn moccasins laced with rawhide, made no sound on the sand. Up close, he saw the scar that ran from her left temple to the corner of her mouth, pale against bronze skin. She knelt beside him, fingers quick and sure as she checked his pulse, lifted his eyelid, pressed 2 fingers to the hollow of his throat. "Name?" "Caleb. I'm Nijoni." She pronounced it Nih Zone, the ZH like the buzz of a bee. "You're bleeding inside. Legs broke in 2 places. Maybe 3. You move wrong, you die faster." He swallowed. "Got a choice." She looked at the horizon, then back at him. Not much of one. She stood, walked to her horse, and unhooked a canteen. The water was warm and tasted of tin, but it was the best thing he'd ever drunk. She let him have 3 swallows, no more. Then she capped it. "My camp's 8 miles west," she said. "Canyon. Spring. My grandmother's there. She knows bones. 8 miles. On a broken leg. In this heat." Caleb closed his eyes. Leave me. Nijoni didn't answer right away. He heard the creak of leather, the soft snort of the horse. When he opened his eyes, she was crouched again, closer this time. Her face was unreadable, but her voice was soft. My brother died out here, she said. 3 years ago. Heat stroke. White men found him too late. Said he was just another drunk Indian. Left him for the buzzards. She paused. I was 12 miles away. If I'd been closer. Caleb didn't know what to say. The desert wind stirred the dust between them. I don't leave people, she said finally. Not anymore. She stood and walked to the paint horse. For a moment he thought she was leaving. Then she led the animal over, positioned it parallel to his body. Get on my horse, handsome cowboy, she said. He stared. I can't. You will. She looped the reins over the horn, then knelt again. Her hands were calloused, strong. She slid one arm under his shoulders, the other beneath his knees. The pain was a living thing, clawing up his spine, but she didn't flinch. On 3, she said. 1. She lifted. The world exploded. He screamed, couldn't help it, and then he was draped across the saddle like a sack of feed, belly down, broken leg dangling. Nijoni adjusted him with quick efficiency, tying his wrists to the horn with a strip of rawhide so he wouldn't fall. Hold on, she said. We ride slow. She mounted behind him, one arm around his waist, the other guiding the reins. The horse shifted under their combined weight, then started walking. Each step was agony, but the rhythm was steady. The sun crawled across the sky. Caleb drifted in and out. He saw his mother's face, dead of fever when he was 9. Saw the first buckle he ever won, age 14, the silver gleaming under arena lights. Saw the empty bleachers after his father's funeral, the way the wind had rattled the metal seats like bones. He came to with Nijoni pouring water over his lips. They were in the shadow of a mesa now, the heat less brutal. Almost there, she said. He tried to nod. Couldn't. Why, he rasped. You don't know me. She was quiet for a long time. Then, my grandmother says the desert keeps score. Every life you save, it remembers. Every one you don't, she didn't finish. The canyon appeared suddenly, a slash of green in the red rock, cottonwoods clustering around a trickle of water. Smoke rose from a fire. An old woman stood beside it, tiny and stooped, silver hair in twin braids. She took one look at Caleb and started barking orders in Apache. Nijoni dismounted, helped him down. The world spun. Hands, many hands, lifted him onto a blanket. Someone pressed a poultice to his leg. Someone else forced bitter tea between his teeth. He gagged, swallowed, gagged again. Darkness took him. When he woke, the stars were out. The air smelled of sage and something sharp, herbs, maybe. His leg was splinted with yucca stalks and rawhide, throbbing but no longer screaming. Nijoni sat across the fire, sharpening her knife. The old woman, her grandmother, he guessed, was asleep under a woven blanket. You're still here, he said. She didn't look up. Told you. We don't leave people. He shifted, wincing. Your brother. I'm sorry. She nodded once. The night flashed in the firelight. His name was Tahoma. He was 19. Wanted to be a doctor. Saved every penny from guiding tours. Then one day he didn't come home. Caleb stared at the flames. I got a sister in Tulsa. Haven't seen her in 6 years. Keeps writing. I keep writing. Nijoni sheathed the knife. Rodeo? Yeah. Stupid way to die. He laughed, really laughed this time, though it hurt. Tell me about it. She poked the fire. Sparks rose like fireflies. Caleb arrives on crutches, still favoring the leg. Tulsa is loud, humid, nothing like the desert. His sister, Ruth, meets him at the station, pregnant, radiant, married to a quiet mechanic named Tom. The wedding is small, held in a Baptist church with paper bells and potluck casserole. Caleb arrives on crutches, still favoring the leg. Tulsa is loud, humid, nothing like the desert. His sister, Ruth, meets him at the station, pregnant, radiant, married to a quiet mechanic named Tom. The wedding is small, held in a Baptist church with paper bells and potluck casserole. Caleb gives Ruth the turquoise stone. She cries. That night, he dreams of Red Rock and a woman's voice saying, "Get on my horse." 3 weeks later, a letter arrives postmarked Window Rock. Najoni's handwriting is sharp, economical. The spring is drying. Grandmother is fading. The paint horse threw a shoe and won't let anyone else touch him. She doesn't ask for help. She never would. But Caleb reads between the lines. He sells his truck, buys a used Chevy pickup with a horse trailer hitched behind. Tells Ruth he's checking on a debt. Drives 1,200 miles with a duffel, a bottle of bourbon, and a limp that aches when it rains. Stops in Albuquerque for coffee, sees a Navajo woman in a diner who looks nothing like Najoni but makes his chest hurt anyway. He finds the canyon at dusk. The spring is a trickle. The cottonwoods are dying. Najoni is thinner, eyes hollow. Grandmother sits outside the hogan, blind now, humming. The paint horse nickers when Caleb steps from the truck. Najoni's face cycles through shock, anger, relief. She punches him in the arm, hard, then hugs him so tight his ribs creak. They dig a new well. Caleb's leg gives out daily, but he learns to swing a pick with his good side. Najoni teaches him Dine words for water, for horse, for thank you. They argue over everything, how deep to dig, whether to sell the last goat, if the government surveyors can be trusted. At night, they sit by the fire. She tells him Tahoma's full story. He tells her about the arena lights, the way the crowd roars when you stay on 8 seconds. One night, she kisses him. He kisses back. The desert is quiet except for coyotes. A monsoon hits, rare, violent. Flash flood tears through the canyon. Grandmother refuses to leave the hogan. Caleb and Najoni fight the water to get her out. The paint horse bolts. Caleb chases it on foot, legs screaming, finds it trapped in a wash. He cuts it free with the same knife Najoni used to splint his leg months ago. The horse carries him back through chest-deep water. They save grandmother, the hogan, the last of the herbs. In the aftermath, soaked and shaking, Najoni says, "You came back." He says, "Told you I'd write. This is better than a letter." The well strikes water, clear, cold, endless. The cottonwoods will live. Grandmother blesses them with corn pollen at dawn. Najoni asks what happens now. Caleb looks at the horizon, then at her. "I got a sister in Tulsa. You got a canyon. Maybe we split the difference." She laughs, the sound bright as bells. They load the paint horse into the trailer. Grandmother rides shotgun, humming. 6 months later, a new sign at the canyon mouth, Najoni and Caleb McAllister, horseback tours and desert healing. Ruth visits with her baby. The child's first word is Leechai, dog. The paint horse sires a colt with a white blaze. Every year on the anniversary of the fall, Caleb and Najoni ride to the exact spot where he broke. She says, "Get on my horse, handsome cowboy." He does. They ride until the sun sets red behind the mesas.